our list of demands. Please, if you don't know the full story, please follow Texas Jail Project across all social media, as well as United Fort Worth. You can see those stories also in the Star Telegram. This is our list of demands. One, to the County Commissioner's Court, which we're standing in front of right now. Conduct an independent investigation into Tarrant County Jail's policies and procedures of all its jail facilities to identify policy problems and recommend policy solutions with implementation plans. Inquiry into the yearly funding the Sheriff's Department has requested and where those funds have been utilized. Implement county-wide policy for yearly renewal of Memorandum of Understanding Agreement between the county jail, John Pierce Smith Hospital, mental health, mental resources, and any other relevant county entities to ensure effective coordination of all parties. Reallocate additional county funding for fiscal year 2023 towards community services and pretrial diversion, and draft recommendations to utilize the ARPA funds, American Rescue Plan funding, for underfunded services. To the Sheriff's Department, these are our demands. Resignation from Sheriff Bill Weber, who has failed to keep people in his custody safe and to uphold minimum jail standards set forth by the Texas Commission on Jail Standards. Termination of jailers and jail medical staff who failed to follow policies and procedures while Kelly was in custody and actively seizing. Mandate a department policy to not book or hold any individuals who are screened for mental illness, intellectual or developmental disability (IDD) as part of the 16.22 screening and continuity of care query check, and divert individuals to available county facilities and resources. We just got a whole facility to divert mental health folks to. Why was Kelly
Lawn and Evans?
Immediately evaluate every individual in jail, medical, and provide PR bonds and other means of release into community care. Update the mental health IDD assessment to effectively screen individuals with IDD and retrain jail staff to properly screen all individuals during booking. No one should slip through the cracks. Mandate a jail policy on disclosing and sharing information with the family members and loved ones in the case of medical emergencies and crises. And I will add to this, when they are being released. We need to know that information so we can pick them up. MHMR, these are our demands for you. Implement a non-police mental health crisis response to divert persons suspected of mental illness and disabilities away from the jail. Implement a coordinated response with courts and health services to immediately divert individuals with MI and IDD. Fort Worth Police Department, these are our demands to you. Implement a non-police crisis response and not a co-response model in partnership with the local mental health authority, MHMR Tarrant, through their mobile crisis outreach team and medical professionals. In other words, take your hands off of these calls, police. We don't need you there.
Facts.
We need mental health care professionals.
They do have one.
First responders. Mandate a department policy
They do have them. They
for
just don't
officers
assign them to no
to not
calls.
arrest and transport any individual in a mental health or IDD crisis to Tarrant County Jail, but rather divert individuals to available county facilities and resources. John Peter Smith Hospital, these are demands for you. Termination of medical staff who were on duty on April 13th when Kelly was first admitted to JPS and failed to identify her as an epileptic patient and released her back into the county jail. And this is not the first time. Javante Myers, they did the same thing to him. He had epilepsy. He went to JPS, and guess what? They threw him back in the cage, and he died there. Audit the memorandum of understanding between Tarrant County Jail and JPS when patients are transported to the hospital from the jail, including MOUs between city police departments when patients are transported by police officers. We are tired of our taxpayer dollars paying for death and harm in the name of public safety. We demand a holistic and effective vision of public safety, one that protects our community's most vulnerable residents and invests in robust public health systems of care.
Thank you, Pamela. Just real quickly before I do invite Kelly's family up to speak, I would like to have a moment of silence for the 39 people that have died in Tarrant County Jail. Yes, 39 people have died since 2019 in Tarrant County Jail, all under Sheriff Bill Wayburn's watch. So if you would join me in a moment of silence, please. Thank you, everyone. Now I would like to invite up anyone from Kelly's family that would like to speak and share Kelly's story, please. Woo! Thank you!
I am Kelly's dad, and there's been, when I went on visitation and was told that if we would bring the medicine to her, that they would get it to her, and it didn't happen. I was told, when I went in, visitation was on a monitor, and I could see she was having a seizure at that time. And I told them, they said, there's nothing we can do about it, she won't take her medicine. Well, Kelly has to be told into taking her medicine sometimes. And if they saw that, why didn't they do something about it? Like send her up to the medical floor. They told us to bring her medicine up there, and they couldn't give her that medicine, but they could get medicine and give it to her. Still didn't happen. When I went for visitation, they asked me her name and birthday. Well, they told me September 16th, her birthday. I said, no, her birthday's September 13th. And they said, well, it's in the system that way, we can't change it. Well, why can't you? I'm her father, I know her birthday. Why can't you change something simple like her name? So we should go to the hospital, she can get the correct something she needs. The hospital knew Kelly, she's been there many times. Her neurologist was a doctor at JPS. They would have known what she needed and how to take care of her and not send her back to Tarrant County where she wasn't supposed to be to start with. And if they tell us, call MHMR and give us a phone number, and I called 10 times and never once did I get through, there's a problem. Something's got to change. And thank you all for being here, because we got to make this change, not just for my daughter, but for other people just like her and you that have loved ones that unfortunately are in places that they shouldn't be.
the moment that 911 was called. I know there's a lot of criticism from a lot of people that don't know all the facts, so I'm going to try to clarify a little bit of this so that people have a little bit more of the bigger story. Kelly has Lennox gastric syndrome. It's a rare, severe seizure disorder that started at 2 years old. As you can imagine, to have vagal seizures, that is often belongs to the brain daily. And over time, Kelly loses more and more of herself. As a family collective, though, we never always provide their body, which is ever been an institution for a facility is our family. We love her. We never wanted her to be cared for by strangers because we hear, of course, stories like this. This is exactly why we always support with only be at home with us. It is not easy having Kelly at home all the time. She's not an aggressive person. Let's also make that very clear. This incident happened, and there have been handfuls of other, but on the most days, Kelly is the most loving 4 to 5 year olds. She loves to color, play with Play-Doh, paint. She is innocent. She cannot read or write. She's assistant during most scenes, but it is so easy to love her because she reminds me every day of who she is, all the little things. Even though she looks like a woman, she is a ray of sunshine, and I love her very much. On April 11th, when she hit my grandmother, this was after a day of very hard news. Again, for anyone that has special children or families, you know that it takes a lot of patience to love and feel when the person that has seizures is going after it. My grandmother never intended for Kelly to be incarcerated. The whole point of calling 911 was never for Kelly to go to Tarrant County Jail. The call was made for lack of better resources of knowing who to call. This particular night, my grandmother just needed officers to come because she is 82 years old. She was scared. Kelly does not live alone with my grandmother. My grandmother is not her caretaker. My mother and my sister live there as well. So I wanted to make that also very clear. My grandmother was not carrying an 82 alone for a special needs woman. The officers that responded were given very detailed information concerning Kelly's condition, her mind frame, and what my grandmother needed, which was for Kelly to be taken to JPS MHMR, where Dr. Nier, her neurologist, is. The plan was to get her in for another medication modification, which is what we need over time with a seizure disorder that causes more brain damage over months and years. The officers assured my grandmother that she was going to be taken to Tarrant County temporarily and that within 5 to 6 hours would be taken to MHMR. However, once she arrived at county jail, they did this medical evaluation that they do, and they deemed her fit to go ahead and go into county jail. Even knowing she was a major fall risk, even knowing that without her medication it was life-threatening, knowing that she had the mind of a 5-year-old, that she couldn't read or write, she couldn't make a commissary list, she could not shower herself, she needs a caretaker. Tarrant County Jail is not a facility that is equipped to deal with someone that needs a caretaker. It is for able-bodied individuals who have broken the law. Well, we know that the law was not broken because the Tarrant County District Attorney himself called me and dropped the charges almost immediately after this incident happened. Unfortunately, it was a little bit too late because at that time Kelly was already in ICU, where she was left looking as a 38-year-old woman but with the mind of a child, falling alone. No one cleaning up for her after she urinated on herself after seizures. No one picking her up and making sure she got on the bed. She was left laying on a concrete floor, falling repeatedly to have bruises head to toe. And if the sheriff's department is going to make a statement and honestly say that they did everything right, and my sister is covered head to toe in bruises and seized for over 20, they should be ashamed of themselves. If they're going to stand by this decision to continue to say that they did everything right, because obviously they did not. If this is right, I would hate to see what they consider wrong. This is absolutely, it's ridiculous. We went to everyone we could talk to. We went to the detective. We went to the DA's office. We went to the jail administrator. I'm from Mississippi. I live in Mississippi. When I found out about this incident on Wednesday, by Sunday I was driving here, but from Mississippi I tried everything that I could on the phone, and I was getting nowhere. No matter how hard I advocated,
no matter who I talk to, the DA, his assistants, rather, not him personally, the detective, everyone basically told me the same thing. We're here only for the law aspect of this. We're not psychiatrists or psychologists. We can't confirm what Kelly's mental status is. Well, do y'all have medical records? Has anyone even tried to verify that the information we're giving y'all is accurate? I had to drive from Mississippi 11 hours straight here to get here. And when I got here, we didn't even know Kelly's attorney yet. Her bond had not even been set. So I had to wait an additional 2 days even after I got here to still get her out. Days that I feel like I failed her because I couldn't get her out the day I got here. I had to wait because a court-appointed attorney who still spells her name incorrectly had never even went to visit her, had not even set a motion of bail. She told me on the phone, well, you're doing my job. Well, it looks like I have to. How are you representing her and you didn't even know what her mental condition was? You don't even know what it's called? You're supposed to be the one advocating and you haven't even been to the jail to see her? So I had to go to JPS with my husband and get the medical records to give to the attorney that's supposed to be representing her. Everything about this, every person that should have been facilitating Kelly failed her. From the Fort Worth PD who arrested her and made the decision to send her to the jail instead of MHMR, to the medical evaluation she got where they deemed her mentally competent enough when obviously she was not. And I don't see how they can stand by. Let me see one of those pictures and say, look at these bruises. Look at her face. 3 splits in her lips. Look at her legs. Does this look like they did everything right? Does this look like someone who was being looked on regularly and checked up by medical staff regularly? This is what you're gonna stand by? Really, Sheriff's Office? This is shameful. Something needs to be changed, reviewed and revised, starting with the way that officers respond to calls. There is absolutely no reason in 2022 why PD is not professionally trained and the resources are not there for them to know how to respond to calls. And when they get there, go, oh, this is not us. We need to call and have those resources on hand to make the call. She didn't even have to be transported in a police vehicle. They could have sent for an ambulance. My grandmother did not know what to do. Again, Kelly's 38. She's never a day in her life slept away from either my grandmother, my mother, or myself. She didn't do this intentionally. She did it for lack of resources. She didn't know what else to do. They could have handled it differently. They could have got there and said, okay, this is what we need to do. We're going to call an ambulance. We're going to have her taken to MHMR. They didn't do that. When she got to the county jail and they deemed her mentally competent, what type of mental evaluation consists of a few questions with only one question raising a red alarm? How many other people have slipped through that crack and been deemed mentally fit to be in there when they should have never been? She looks 38, but it's a 5-year-old. Would anyone stand by and say they did everything right if she was 5? Because that's what her mind frame is, a 5-year-old. So this is okay. This is doing things right. Laws need to be changed. Resources need to be put in to training. Resources need to be put into these JPS nurses. When you have a seizing patient, an RN, there's no neurologist at the Tarrant County Hospital, by the way. A seizing patient needs an EEG. A nurse is not professionally trained to read them. How could they know what her seizure activity was looking like? We're talking about days without medication because of the law protecting them from forcing medication, but it's life-threatening. And that's exactly what has happened to Kelly. Her brain went haywire from too many days of not being medicated and no telling how many head injuries. They had to do 3 x-rays on her when she got there. They thought she had broken bones. If this is okay, this is disgraceful. And I will not stop fighting this at a legislative level. Bills are going to be passed. Laws are going to be changed because I'm not letting this go. I would like to challenge everybody here, my grandmother and my mother. My mother, by the way, during all this was the whole situation going on, was in the hospital.